So hi everyone. I'm thankful so much for listening to my speech about PR, and everyone might have their own idea what PR is, but through my talk I'm going to tell you exactly what does it mean. I think a lot of people don't really understand it at the end of the day. At some point they think it's all kinds of different things, but anyway, so this is me. I've been, a media relations expert and a PR strategist and a communicator for more than 20 years. I founded my own company, PR and social media marketing company. Brand storyteller. Once you have the brand narrative, you have to have a brand story. And how do you tell that story? And it's kind of a brand journey. In this world that we're in now, it's not just about, okay, here's a product story. It's you're actually becoming a kind of your own journalist around your brand, and you're kind of doing a brand journalism kind of play. So a little different than what we used to see. But anyways, that's me. And you'll get my contact information at the end. So I've had a lot of experience in industry and journalism. So a lot of tech startups I've worked with, and different hardware, software. So that's me, and you can see some of the things I've done down here. So next slide. So as I was saying, public relations, so entrepreneur has a really good overall title, which is using the news or business press to carry positive stories about your company or products, and having good relationships to get you there. And that sounds like really great, but how do you do that? It just seems sometimes like, well, how do you do that? Do you call people up when you have a product and say, hey, I have a new product, you might want to cover it? Is that how you do it? Well, that's what we're going to dive into here. So we've had a lot of change in the PR industry and in the media industry. You used to be, you'd be just maybe sending your press release. You'd write a press release, maybe fax the press release. You might email the press release to a couple reporters. You'd tell them, hey, you'd have your list, and you'd call them and say, I have a great product announcement that's coming out. And you'd have 10 people saying, yes, I'm going to want to interview you about this product announcement. This is wonderful. I want to cover that announcement. So it was all really driven through the product PR and what your announcement had. And now, after there was a lot of consolidation in the media industry, people lost jobs, and then, we got a whole new set of different types of media outlets, which actually expanded your opportunities. So at first, people were going, what's going on with social media and with bloggers and with all of this? If you were really good at storytelling, if you really understood, how to communicate and to go throughout all these different channels, you started having more opportunity to tell your story and to talk about what you're passionate about. So it actually did change things for the better. So then the next slide.
Why does the blogger need coffee and Red Bull?
What did you say? Because it's a 24/7 news cycle. That's the other thing that's different. And that's that was a great question, because actually nowadays it's not just about you're getting your press release out, it'll be in the magazine tomorrow, like 3 months from now. Or, maybe you'll be in a weekly publication in a couple weeks, and we went and talked to everyone. We didn't have to fly to New York and make a press tour and plan this for 6 or 7 weeks or 8 weeks. Now we hop on the phone. Now there's blogs coming out any time of day. News is happening any time of day. It used to be, okay, we have a press announcement, and we'll let you know, okay, this is the date, we'd like you to write this story, but we have an embargo, which means that please don't write the story until that date. Well, now they want to know down to the minute. When can you have that story out? If you have an agreement with a reporter not to have a story out, it has to be down to the minute so they know. It's that kind of cycle now, 24/7. Okay. So as I was just getting into, PR is more complex than ever before. We've got press releases, we've got forums, we've got brochures and all kinds of things. We've got social media. We've got people are starting to contribute to their own blogs. They're starting their own columns. They're starting their own blogs, and they're starting to have contributors on their own blogs. It's expanded all over the place. It's so many opportunities. You can go. You can have speaking opportunities. You can have your own communities. You can do your own events. You can have your own publication. So it's just changed, and you also still want, and it's driven by all the search engines and everything out there, you want to have those opportunities, and you're also, but because of all of this, it's not everything's created equal. So you have to really pick and choose. You have to be selective because there's just too much out there now. So getting into that kind of discussion, we have all kinds of media right now. We've got earned media, which is the publicity. It's like, so you can get covered by Forbes or Fortune and have, or some specific consumer blog that's covering your product and has 16 million readers, or you can get Joe's blog to cover it. So what do you think is going to be the more important, thing to go after? You want to go after the ones that have more readers, more viewers, more unique monthly viewers than just, any blog. So you have to really be strategic. And you have the earned publicity is really sought after. Influencer relations. You've got, social media, which is always going to, you're going to build those communities, and you're going to have people that you follow that are in the media, and also people that you're building your communities and getting that publicity out there. And then there's all kinds of other things you can do, like brand journalism, which is like being a contributor. Maybe you can, I have a client that we went out, and now he's a contributor to the Christian Science Monitor every month, and just because he did some press meetings with this specific, and then he found some synergy, and he's really great at doing thought leadership pieces, so he became a regular contributor. So now that's a way for him to get his name out about his product by talking about the greater story, which is he's in the area of trying to help, his product helps eliminate bias in the news and helps teach kids about different political initiatives across the spectrum of different viewpoints. So he starts talking about something like that versus his product. So it makes it a lot, different than just, putting out a story about his product. Obviously, you have advertising, which is paid still. You'll have sponsored posts. That's all paid. And then PR is where you have a PR strategist or media relations person that's working with you to get those stories out there. You're getting in those stories by these key writers, and that's a different thing. It helps you have that third-party validation. Versus if I wrote a sponsored post, it's great to have a sponsored, interesting post from TopMind PR, or any of your companies, but if it's somebody else who's influential in the market is writing about your story, writing about your product, writing about how you fit into the market, that's a lot more powerful and can also drive a lot of additional coverage. So that's where, you can, all the information is shared, you drive credibility, you drive authority by doing that. And so I'll let you know more how you do that in the next slide. So there's a lot of thing about all these different, we've got all these different media that we have that we can actually leverage now because we're in a new world where there's all kinds of different media. You can really take advantage, like, for example, if I have a product and I am interested in getting a lot of bloggers to write about it, well, I can create a strategy around bloggers who might be interested in a giveaway for their followers. And maybe if I do run a contest and I offer to give them some kind of giveaway for their followers, that they would perhaps write about my product with this giveaway idea. So that's a new thing that there's different strategies that you can implement for bloggers, something like that. You can do, you can actually then create your own media and pitch editors for specific content pieces. So you can actually submit queries to editors and ask them if they're interested in different ideas for coverage, and present yourself as a contributor. You can present yourself that way, and if they're interested in your idea, they'll say yes, and they usually will work with you. You will put together an article. Usually it has to be an article that's going to be helpful to their readers. It has to be helpful in terms of offering tips or suggestions. It's not just about your product, it's about building the story around what you can give to your audience and what you can help the reader of that blog. Also, what will be compelling, what's something in the news. You can build on trends that are going on to write different stories and pieces that you can get out there. So you can create podcasts, you can take advantage of bloggers and people that are actually creating a lot of different podcasts online who would cover your story. You could interview that with them, and then we'll do a podcast of your story. If you have some key media that you want to meet with, they'll put those together for you as well. So there's a lot of different ways that you can leverage what's going on right now. And then to wrap a bow around that, you really want to make sure that you have your message straight and your story straight, and what the message is and what the compelling reason is why a company wants to work with you, and or a consumer wants to buy your product. You have to have those pieces in place and understand also when you go talk to the media why where are some areas where they might ask you specific difficult questions, controversial questions. But don't be afraid not to talk about those things. Those are actually really great nuggets to help you, get your message out there. So, the next slide. So, as I was saying, everything is being done in real time. There's so many more opportunities. Technology is helping reporters, actually create more interesting stories. They have access to so much data. They really are looking for, there's a lot of situations where if you have a product that, something like an IoT product or something, and you can, show how different things are being improved, or a data scientist type of product. Something that in regards to what data scientists, different data pools that you can help them with. There are anything that you can provide them with some information around, whether that's like if you actually could see like this product, which you said, which was the clock, if that had something that you could provide a reporter, like some data that was around that, then that would be really interesting. Like we see that most people, are really needing to use smart products in their homes, and this is the way it's going. If there's a lot of trends you can talk about to that reporter, or actually have the ability to provide them with something that they can use. It doesn't have to be about your product, but it can be a background information, or just something they can use to actually tell their story and to check the facts of their story. They will be very appreciative. Okay. Next. Okay. So the issue is when you do want to get in touch with, bloggers or reporters, you have to be very careful because you need to really be thoughtful on how you do it. There are so many bad pitches. Reporters sometimes they even post. I have a lot of reporters on my Facebook, and they post at times, I just had to post this bad pitch I got today. They do that. Poor PR people, but they have these people out there, PR people or a company that writes them, and they just can't believe how bad it is. It's either not well timed, or it's the wrong reporters covering something completely different than that, and it's not their even anywhere in their bailiwick of what they're covering. So it really is important to be really aware of who you're talking to, what, and to create a story that would be of why do I care? Why does that reporter need to think about talking to you for either being an expert or source, or why the product would be something that could be of interest to the readers, and is it old news? Did you have it out 5 months ago? Why would they care about talking to you now? So all of those things are important. Okay. Saying, these are just some things to go, the elements of the story. You might be totally reaching the reporter at the wrong time. Maybe he's written 5 stories already about that product, and now you're calling him and saying, oh, I saw you wrote 5 stories about this, smart thermometer, and I want you to write a story about my product. It's just kind of like, that's like you have to follow what they're writing about and knowing what they're writing about. And that was a great movie about Silicon Valley, Maya, so you definitely want to get away from the technical jargon and really talk about what's important to the reporter's audience and why they would care. So obviously you want a good pitch is compelling. You want your mom to be able to understand it. You want, and that's whether you're talking to investors, the press, or anyone, it has to be understandable. And it's well aligned with the interest or beat of the reporter, focuses on the larger problems that are facing society or whose audience is, and communicates the message clearly, and it's delivered authentically. It's really not, you have to be passionate when you're talking about your product, whether it's to investors or the press. You need to be connecting with people, and you need to be genuine and authentic in your conversations, and you also have to really be careful about how you present your message. What do you want people to leave with? What are they gonna, this is like a thing that you would want that from investors too. This is a similar thing as if you're in front of investors talking about your product, but it's the same thing with the press. They really want to feel that, they talk to so many people all the time, all day long. They want to really feel like, you're doing, if you can communicate that you're a human being, you're doing this to really help people, or why are you doing it, and it comes across, it can really make a huge difference. And you might have a lot of different, something that people don't understand. Maybe it's a product that's never been out there on the market and it's totally different. Well, you can get people to be on your side on that when you really are able to connect with them in that way. So, okay. So, there's so many things, as I mentioned, about what you can do from a PR perspective. You can be, contributing to different blogs. You can really be looking at the trends consistently and following different reporters of what they're covering, and then reach out to them about your own ideas of a certain trend that's going on, what you're seeing. You start thinking like a reporter, thinking about different trends that are happening in the market. That's where you have some expertise and where you can share that knowledge. You can obviously, you want people to know about your products. You want to be out there talking to people, to be in the right audiences, having those conversations on an ongoing basis with media, making sure you talk about what customers, if you have some big name customers, that's really something that the press, it resonates with them. They want to know. The thing about that is if you have customers, one advice I give to any startup, if they can get customers to be their brand ambassadors, and if they can get the customers to be able to be willing to talk about their experiences, and that you really take care of your customers, so much so that they'll be able to talk about you to the press or to other customers, you've really done, that's a really good shortcut to getting where you need to go. So, and of course, you want people to, by spreading that word through everybody you touch, through the customers, through the press, you're able to, achieve your PR goals. So, that's the next slide. And so, that's the message, is that a good story gets people on your side. So if you're able to build that through the media, through social media, through content, then it's a huge building block process. It's not just one thing. You have to have an ongoing program. It's not just one day I put out a press release, or one day, it's every day. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday being conscious of what's out there and how you can, take advantage of your own PR opportunity. So thank you very much.